All right. Well, thank you all for coming today to our training for administration, reports, and security. It's kind of a hodgepodge, so I apologize if we'll be jumping, but we will be jumping around a little bit. Um, Let me just get you some info. So today, we are going to go over some things that have changed in library settings. Uh, Now, not only Spark staff can update library settings at the moment, but you can view them. So if you, we'll show you how to do that. Circulation, there are a few little things in circulation that pertains to the permissions that we're going to be going over. Some things for the OPAC, some things in the staff client, reports, and then security. Just a reminder that the upgrade schedule is, you know, I guess I don't want to say quickly closing, but we are quickly approaching our upgrade date of November 12th. That happens in the evening. Uh, from now until, the end of the day on November 12th, make sure you download any print, label, or cataloging templates that you have saved on your workstation. Wouldn't hurt to take a screenshot of any of your grid settings, so any of the columns that you have selected on various screens. So if they're specific to certain workstations, it doesn't hurt to have a guiding reference for that. And the most important thing is on the end, when you leave for the day on November 12th, that you log out of Evergreen. If you don't log out, nothing terrible is going to happen, but it might make your Thursday, November 13th, a little rough. So you might have to re-register your workstation, clear your cookies and your cache, and nobody likes to do that. And it actually makes your day a little longer because you have to reinstall and set up your browser for Evergreen. Uh, and then also just to remind you all that there is a CERC and OPAC training happening on October 29th. So make sure you register for that. Natalie, do you have the registration link for that handy? I forgot to.
Yep, I will shove it in the chat.
Thanks. I always forget to get that link. Okay. So again, just leading up to the upgrade, sign up for testing, participate in our trainings. You can review the release notes if you are so inclined. Again, just a review for the day of and the day, or excuse me, for the day of. Just be aware that you may, on the off chance, have to re-register your workstation. If you get any of those white screens where it just loads a white screen and nothing happens, you may need to make some browser adjustments and then, or clear your cache. And then obviously let us know if you have any issues at support@sparkpa.org. Oh, and this is our team. So let's get started with our first, sorry, this Zoom likes to put things in the most inopportune spot. All right. So the first thing that we want to go over, wrong window, is in library settings. So library settings can be found under local administration, or is administration and then local administration. And then right here in the middle column is library settings. Two new things that have been moved to library settings, which is convenient for us, is one, if your library uses Google Analytics for your OPAC, you can track usage of the OPAC via Google Analytics. I'm not an expert in it, but it does give you some real-time data, where people are logging in, uh, visit counts, active users, things like that. There's a whole slew of information that you can get from Google Analytics and kind of help evaluate how people are using the OPAC. While we can't help analyze that info for you, we can help you set it up. So in our library settings here in Evergreen, You will scope to your library, and most likely it will default to your library unless you have multiple locations. We'll just do a search for Google here in the filter bar, and it'll let you review the Google code and if it's enabled. So we have it enabled for Spark across the board. So that's why we have values populated here. But when we look at it for your library, it'll be specific to your location. Um, it's a good place to, you know, it's a good opportunity for you to kind of see how people are using the LPAC and what um, elements of it they're using the most. The other thing that got added to the library settings is the OPAC alerts, which helps if I spell it correctly. Currently, we have to, the work process is you let us know what you want the message to be, then we have to email it to Equinox. Equinox has to make the change. And then it takes a little bit long back and forth between the three people. But now with 315, we will have the ability to add and edit messages right here in the OPAC, right in the library settings. Um, and they are visible in the OPAC. So you'll see I added this banner up here that says this is the test system. We're upgrading the 315 on 1112. And you can let us know whenever you want a message there. We will be able to add it in real time within a few minutes hearing from us and getting confirmed on the wording. We can add HTML. So if you want elements bold or larger or smaller, like this is 2 lines. If you want 2 lines, we can do that. And there are also the ability to have different colors. So this one is called Danger. So it's going to be all in red and bold, but there is a yellow banner, a blue banner, and a green banner. So if it's maybe something like, hey, summer reading is starting, you can put it in green or blue. Um, Maybe a snow warning or something like that about for being closed due to the weather, or things like that. We can put those in quickly once we get them from you. And you can just let us know what color you want and if you want any HTML coding. So that's exciting. Hopefully, I'm going to put in a bug request to see if we can get this so that it's something that you folks can edit and adjust. But for right now, it's limited to staff here at Pales. Any questions on library settings? Okay. The next one that I wanted to review is there is a news permission for the top move to top of queue. So if you ever look at a patron's account, let me close some windows here. And you see a hold or anything like that. I'm going to place an item on hold. And say they like forget to pick it up or it gets canceled for some reason, and then you want to move them back to the top of the list, or say it becomes available and they can't pick it up. So you cancel the hold, but you want them back at the top for, the next copy of something. Um, Let me find a James Patterson title that usually helps. He usually has a lot of things on hold. This new setting is allows only circ supervisor and library administrators to be able to uh, use the move to the topic of queue. Right now, everyone is able to use it, but with this adjustment, we've limited it to just circ supervisors and library administrators. Not every library will use the move to the top of the queue, but for those of you in the off chance that you do need to use it, um, it is limited to specific users. Let me find. Sorry, I should have had a newer title selected. All right. So there are a lot of holds on this one, as you can see, and say they're all suspended. You can move them to the top of the queue. Oh, no, can't because this one's captured. Let me place it on hold for my patron. Man, I picked the wrong title. All right, I'm just gonna force it. All right, so I'm gonna go into my patron's account and I can set them to the top of the queue. And it will let you know that they are moving way up to the top, and so they will be the next person on the list for that hold. Again, it is limited to just circ supervisors and library administrators um, at this time. So if you don't have either of those permissions, you won't be able to use this in the future. Any questions on that one?
So what's changing in this regard? It's just
It
being
is
limited to certain.
yeah, it is
Okay.
restricting access. So now, like at the
Okay.
moment, anyone with circulation permissions can do it. Moving forward after the upgrade, it will only be circ supervisors and library administrators. A lot of libraries use the circ clerk permission group for a wide array of staff levels. So, like sometimes volunteers use it, sometimes it's just the catch-all account for everyone at the desk, and then anyone with like supervisory permissions have additional permissions in their account. So this kind of restricts it so that your volunteer can't go in and move everyone to the top of the queue.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Um, the next one, I don't have a screenshot for because it's a little tricky to test, but currently when patrons pay their fines online in the OPAC, they don't get a receipt of any kind. And that's kind of a bummer, especially for those who like to keep them for tax purposes. Or, balancing their checkbook and such. But now in 315, we'll be able to provide them with an email receipt when they pay with their credit card. If you have any special wording that you would like in your receipts, please let us know, and we can customize those so that when patrons pay, they can get a formatted email from you. If you are interested in using uh, online payment, let us know. We can talk you through what your options are in terms of credit card processors. That is something that you would on your end have to have an account with, like a PayPal or Square or things like that to accept payments online. All right. Some other, kind of quality of life changes in the client is now that we have dark mode. So for those of you who prefer or want to have that striking color contrast, you can have light, you could have dark, or you can have it adjust by auto and it kind of follows the pattern of your windows or yeah. uh, I know a lot of people were excited for dark mode when it came out. So I'm excited that we get to have it now too. Um, if you have it on auto, it follows the rules that you have set forth by your OS, or your operating system. So if you have it set to go dark, like a certain hour or during the day or something like that, it'll fluctuate and respond with the operating system settings. And then also the keyboard shortcuts now have little indicators in the menus. So for those of you who use the F keys or any of the other keyboard shortcuts, they are now kind of peppered throughout the menus for those hotkeys. right in here. So any of the screens that have them, and it's usually, I think, just cataloging and circulation, and then the search options have them as well. Yeah, no worries, Amber. We're recording, so we can catch you up at the end. Um, any questions on staff client changes? I know they're not super fancy, but I really like the dark mode. So, all right. One thing that I'm excited for is in reports, you can now run a report. And if it's a report of record IDs, so for our catalogers, you can then have it automatically load all of those record IDs that are in your report into a bucket. So let me show you. So I ran a report earlier, and it was a list of items owned by our location. And it shares the, 8008 field and the fixed form fields and the video formatting format. And traditionally, what I would have had to do was download the file, um, add everything to a bucket manually. But now, when I ran the report, it automatically added or created a bucket. Let me get my bucket. And it names it basically what I named my report, and it tells me it was generated by a report. So now I can work with those bib records automatically. I don't have to add them to the bucket manually. I can just run the report and then it transfers over seamlessly. The only caveat is when you're running your report, you're going to want to make sure that you have the record ID field in the template. So let me get my template up. Let me clone it here. My folder. Okay. And see right here where it has record ID added to the output or display fields. That is the only requirement. If you don't have that, um, it has no way of knowing what records to add to the bucket. So when I run this, let me show you how I ran it. Close that. Just gonna find my template real quick. I pick my library and all that. I answer all my questions. And you'll see here bibliographic record bucket options. And it'll ask you to identify which column the bib ID is in. And we're going to indicate that the record ID column is the one that has it. And I can either create a new record bucket, and that's when it kind of generates the name automatically, or I can add it to an existing bucket. But please know that you do need to have the ID number of your bucket to put in there. And then once it runs, you will be able to open it and do all of your editing or whatever you need to do for these records in batch or one by one. So that one's pretty cool. Historically, it was really tedious to be able to have to add them one by one to get them into a bucket to work on them in batch. Any questions about the report records? So record bucket?
I do, and maybe this is getting too into the weeds, but I was thinking about possible use for this. Would this be usable with like an inventory function where I could take all the items that didn't have an appropriate last inventory date and just dump them in a bucket and bulk mark them as missing?
Um, Not for this. This is record, so it's working on the bibliographic level. They are doing development for the item buckets, which is what you would want to do. You want to edit the individual items. But they are working on that so that you can do something similar where we would be able to load from a report to a item bucket. So soon. hopefully. I know they're doing it in sections. They're doing bibs and items and then user buckets. So, but if you do need, you can run a report and manually upload the barcodes to a bucket. Yep, and you can do it in item status. Does that help, Troy?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so just put it in a CSV file and just manually upload it. Yeah, I hadn't thought
Mhm.
about that. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay, so in terms of reports, there are some new security features that are on the back end that you really won't see too much of, but I did want to make sure we noted them that um, going forward, outputs, so anything in your output folders in reports, uh, will be limited to, you can still share the folder, but the physically opening the output will be limited to people in your organization. So if you are in a system, you can share it with everyone in the system. You just can't share it like if I worked at a library, say the Dagensteen Library, I wouldn't be able to share it to someone in like the Berks County libraries. They wouldn't be able to see my output. And this is for privacy reasons, since a lot of reports kind of have ties to patrons and things like that. This is one of the first of some upcoming security things with reports, especially the larger consortia. They want to make sure that only people who should be viewing those outputs will have the ability. So nothing that you folks will see, but just as a heads up in case you work with the reports committee or share outputs for anything, it'll be kind of limited to those in your system. Okay. And then finally, the last thing with reports is you can now track e-resource link clicks. So again, it's not fancy, but in the reporter, there is a new source a table that you can run and get info on how many times links are clicked on in the catalog. So these are Hoopla records. I guess I did a thing on cats that day when I tested this. And so these are the links in the individual record, and I can see that they were clicked on the 7th of August, and then it'll have a count. Just like your circulation reports and such, you can have it count the number of times for the whole month or for a whole year. And this is a good idea, if you're evaluating a service, are people accessing it mainly through the app? Are they accessing it through those MARC records? This is a good opportunity for you to have the ability to see if people are actually clicking on the records that you're painstakingly uploading. So this is automatically turned on. So we will have it on the day that we go live. So if you are interested in running reports, we can help you get those set up. I will note that it kind of starts the day we turn it on. So we won't have a ton of historical info, but throughout the year as that info gets culminated, you can run reports on it. So that is reports. Any other questions about things that are coming to reports in 315? Don't see any questions, but feel free to enter them. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was MFA or multi-factor authentication. You'll see the option over here under our drop-down. And we have turned it on as an option for, let me get the list. I think it's currently it's for copy catalogers original cataloger, reports admin, and reports runner. So if you have any of those permissions on the test server, you may see this screen when you are logging in. You don't have to turn it on at the moment, but we did want to share that we will be rolling it out probably in March of 2026. So we wanted to do a review. We do have a further, more in-depth meeting happening on October 29th, and I will get you the URL to sign up if you're interested, or the meeting info. Um, we'll get you that before the end of the session today. Um, there are a few options with multi-factor authentication. And for those of you who have not had to use it yet for anything, a lot of people have been using it for banks and your health insurance and anything with private information, credit card, stuff like that. Thank you, Katie. Uh, but we'll have the option to get a one-time password, either via email or SMS. So it'll send you a text message or an email with a one-time code. You'll enter it, and then it'll authenticate your login. And then it's just not working on the test server. At the moment, we don't have those notices turned on. So, but it will be an option when we do turn it on for Spark. Uh, there is the one-time password kind of with an authenticator app, or a UB key, like a physical device that plugs into your computer and you kind of confirm that you're logging in. And then there's also kind of like a push notification that it sends to like a device. So your phone or a tablet can get a little notification. It pops up and it says, "Hey, are you logging in?" And you can confirm, and then it kind of finishes the authentication process. The rollout, again, will be in 2026. So soon, but not too soon. We're not turning it on day one. And the plan is basically to have it on for anyone who can register a workstation. So the only account that probably wouldn't need it would be the cert clerk. But everyone else, if you have any combo of permission groups, it will require you to have it. We will be staging it. We're not just going to turn it on automatically in March for everyone who it applies to. It'll be a slow rollout. So some of the higher security things like reports and library administrator and maybe acquisitions will have it first, and then we'll work down. Um, correct, Heather. We will have People will have to use one of the options, and one of the options is email. Yes. In the meeting on the 29th, we're going to meet and get to the nitty-gritty of it and talk about concerns that people have, anything, if a library has rolled out MFA for any of their other products. I know a lot of people use it for their 365 instance, their time clocks. There's a whole slew of softwares that use it now. So we'll kind of, if you have experience with rolling it out for your staff, please join us and share your experiences. We definitely want people to have a wide array of options and hear about how other libraries are implementing it. Troy's asking, will there be an option to remember this device and bypass it on specific devices? You will not have the option to bypass it on specific devices. And remember this device. I've been testing it, and once I authenticate, I'm usually okay for the day. So I have to check the time duration, but it will remember you for at least the day. So, but the meeting on the 29th is a good opportunity to share any settings and things like that. We can go in deep on those and decide as a group what is the best time kind of settings, if you will, like how long should it wait until it asks you again. So, again, it is for security reasons, and we're finding that a lot of libraries, and you know, if you're in a state or government entity, if you're part of a municipality or a city, um, a lot of organizations like that are requiring MFA. So this is us kind of trying to get ahead of that so that you're not stuck um, having to require it and then not having the tools to do so. So, any other questions about MFA? Oh, one thing I forgot to include is library administrators will have the ability to clear MFA settings for any of their staff. So we will kind of go over that as well. Um, so it's not something that we as Spark staff have to administer. You and your colleagues will be able to do that. So if someone gets a new phone or a new device or needs to, for whatever reason, clear the settings, they will be able to do so. And we do encourage you to have more than one. So if you have like the one-time password turned on, have another backup, maybe email as a backup or something like that. So if for whatever reason the device or method you initially chose is inaccessible, you have a backup as well. And that is kind of wraps up the list of things that are going to be coming to our upgrade in November with 315. A little bit of a hodgepodge of a mix of things, uh, but nothing super flashy. Last year we got the flashy upgrade to the reports module. So let me stop sharing. And Natalie, would you mind stopping the recording?